Hey guys, welcome to Story Time on Friday. I wanted to come in. It's a little bit late in the afternoon, but I've been out in the woods walking. It's a beautiful day down here, a little chilly, but perfect to get out and get some fresh air. And a little muddy, but that's fine. It's Maine, and we're used to that. So I wanted to read a book today. It's called Henry and Mudge in the Green Time. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with Henry and Mudge. My kids and I adored Henry and Mudge when they were little. But I know I've talked to a few people in the last couple days saying I was going to read this book. And they were like, yeah, who's Henry and Mudge? So if you're not familiar with Henry and Mudge, Henry comes from a little family of a mom and dad and Henry. And a few years ago, they added Mudge, who was just a little baby when they got him, but now he's a huge dog, sort of maybe much like Clifford as far as how big he is. And it's just, they're really, really sweet stories. And I just can't get enough of them. And I read this through last night, deciding what I was going to read to you today. And I actually got all teary just reading this because I don't know, they're just really wholesome and what we need right now, more of what we need right now. So I'm going to read this one to you. It's called Henry and Mudge in the Green Time. And it's an early reader. I would say kids probably, kindergarten, first, second grade would be able to read this to themselves. Or, of course, have somebody read it to them because I love that too. And it's written by Cynthia Rylant and illustrated by Susie Stevenson. Henry and Mudge in the Green Time. And this is the third book of their adventures. We have several of their books at Rainbow Toys. And I did want to mention that Rainbow Toys, actually, Julie at Rainbow Toys has let me borrow all of the books that I've been reading for story time, except for one came from the book review. The rest of them, Julie just lets me borrow them. I go down and get a whole slug of them when no one's there, it's closed, and bring them home, and it's really lovely. I just take them all back when I'm done. So thank you, Julie at Rainbow Toys. Anyway, here we go. The Picnic. In the summer, Henry and his big dog Mudge liked to go on picnics. Henry packed the food. He packed jelly sandwiches, pears, and ginger snaps for himself. He packed dry dog food and popcorn for Mudge. They both drank water. One Sunday, they went to the park for a picnic. Henry put all the food on the picnic table while Mudge chased some ants under a tree. Mudge was so big that his tail went whack every time he ran around the tree. Whack, 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 whack. Henry laughed at him. Soon they began eating. Henry chewed his jelly sandwich while he threw pieces of popcorn into Mudge's mouth. Mudge always liked dessert first on picnics. While they were eating, a yellow bee landed on Henry's pear. Henry didn't see the bee. Henry picked up his pear. Ow! Henry cried. Mudge jumped. The bee flew away. Ow! 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 Henry cried. He shook his hand again and again and again, but his hand hurt more and more and more. It hurt a lot. Tears came to Henry's eyes. His hand hurt so much. It had a big white puffy circle on it. Henry just had to cry. He sat down beside Mudge and held on to his hurting hand and cried. Mudge sniffed Henry's hair. Mudge sniffed Henry's hand. Mudge put his big nose in Henry's ear, but Henry kept crying. Then Mudge licked Henry's face. Mudge liked the taste. It was salty. So Mudge licked Henry's face again and again and again. Every tear that Henry cried, Mudge licked away. Henry cried, Mudge licked, and the hand hurt. But in a while, the hand stopped hurting. Henry stopped crying, and Mudge stopped licking. Henry looked at Mudge and smiled. Couldn't we all use a Mudge right now? Henry picked up a ginger snap. He took one bite and gave Mudge the rest. "Thanks," said Henry. Mudge wagged his tail and waited for another cookie. The bath. On hot days, Henry liked to give Mudge a bath. Henry liked it because he could play with the water hose and because he could cool off. Mudge hated it. Mudge knew when he was going to get a bath. He could see Henry looking for the dog shampoo. And when he saw Henry hooking up the water hose, he tried to hide under the steps. But it never worked. Henry would take Mudge into the front yard in the sun, and he'd hose him down. Mudge hated it. His eyes drooped, his ears drooped, and his tail drooped. When he was all wet, he looked like a big walrus. Henry laughed at him. Then Henry would soap him up. Henry scrubbed his head and his neck and his back and his chest and his stomach, his legs, his tail. Mudge really hated this part. He drooped even more. Then Henry hosed Mudge down again. But before Henry could grab a towel, before Henry could get Mudge dry, Mudge always got Henry back. Because when Henry let go, Mudge started shaking. He started with his head, and he shook his neck and his back and his chest and his stomach and his legs and his tail. Mudge shook so hard that when he was done, he was mostly dry, and Henry was mostly wet. Then Mudge looked at Henry and wagged his tail, and Henry dried Henry with the towel. The green time. Beside Henry's house was a big green hill. Late on summer days, Henry and Mudge went to the top of the green hill. They looked down. They saw Henry's white house. They saw Henry's blue bike. They saw Henry's wooden swing. On top of the green hill, Henry felt big. He felt like a king. He saw his things below him, and he felt very big. "I am king of the green hill," Henry said. He looked at Mudge. "You are my dragon." Mudge wagged his tail. "Your name," Henry said, "is Fireball." Mudge wagged again. "And you are very, very scary," Henry said. Mudge wagged some more. Henry and Mudge marched all over the top of the green hill. They met other kings who had dragons. They chased them away. They met monsters, and Mudge ate them. They marched and marched till they could march no more. Then they found a magic tree on the green hill. It was a tree for kings and dragons who were very tired. Henry and Mudge sat down under the tree. Henry put his arms around Mudge. They were glad for a magic tree. They closed their eyes. I read about a magic tree yesterday too. And a boy and his dog slept together on the green hill in their green time. I hope you're all really enjoying your animals if you have them. I had a golden retriever for many, many, many years who I think saved the day many, many days. And I have a kitty that's up north right now with my partner, and he can play outdoors up there. He's really happy, but I'm sad not to have him. I think our animals right now they're pretty saving graces for us, I think. in lots of ways. And this is a really sweet book. I really love it. I wanted to show you the first book. In case you're out looking or you're looking online for your kids, this is the very first Henry and Mudge book, Henry and Mudge, the first book. And I was going to read this one to you because it kind of sets the stage for the other ones, but I don't know. I really like this one. I really related to this one. So, but if you can get your hands on this first one to start, and then there's several more, you would absolutely love these, and I think your kids would love these. So I hope that you enjoyed story time today, and I hope you get outside on this gorgeous day and get some fresh air and sunshine, and I'll see you back here tomorrow, Saturday. Bye, guys. Love you.